Why are doctors hesitant to prescribe diagnostic tests? From what I've been told, running a diagnostic test that is not indicated can uncover things that look like they require medical intervention, but are actually benign, leading to unnecessary surgery or prescriptions that can harm the patient. In countries with publicly covered healthcare, providers are encouraged not to waste public money by running unnecessary tests. Testing capabilities are finite, and running a test that's not indicated is using resources that could be provided to someone who is a strong candidate for that test. Not a big deal for a one-off, but it adds up if you start testing everyone for everything. In the US, there's always the issue of health insurance. There's also the very real issue of doctors not taking patients seriously, especially women. But there is also a problem with overdiagnosis that this doctor lays out pretty well. U2.BNZQSLGEUA. False positives exist. If they decided to just diagnostic test everyone, then they'd cause more harm than what they actually find and fix. They seem the most hesitant to use expensive and costly tests. Blood work is done pretty easily, but CT scans are much harder because they meaningfully raise cancer tumor risk. MRIs are costly and there is a line to use the machine. In the US, insurance companies effectively dictate what doctors can and cannot do. So the doctors need a very well-defined medical reason to run a test. Symptoms aren't enough. They need to point to a very specific diagnosis which the test confirms or not. This makes doctors reluctant to run tests that are not strictly preventative in nature. I hear you. No idea why it's so much harder for women to get medical professions to take us seriously. I think because people self-diagnose and are self-proclaimed Google doctors think that they need tests that aren't actually needed. From my understanding, it's the health insurance companies that monitor a doctor's testing requests. There is an incentive to start with cheaper tests first. Depending on the insurance, a doctor that orders a lot of top-of-the-line tests gets flagged. Most expensive tests need prior approval, which is a whole process. Some doctor practices have one staff member that's all they do, taking with insurance plans to get approval. Another issue can be availability of testing machines. Some areas only have a few places to get MRIs, so some places need to prioritize. That's my 2 cents. I'm a man and I've had my share of getting lots of tests because of a chronic health issue. I think it has everything to do with health insurance companies trying to contain costs. Not quite what you're referencing, but an older family member was prescribed a testosterone gel because he had low T. Got a call from the insurance company and a young woman asked him about the script. Now, why exactly do you need this testosterone gel? She asked him. Because I went to an endocrinologist, who is a medical doctor with more scientific education than me, our parents, and our grandparents combined. He said I had low T and to smear this gel on my belly. He said in time it may help my libido, so I can start having sex again like the madman I was when I was your age. Why are you even asking me this fucking question? I was there when he took the call. Then he looked at me and said, if that's the kind of woman I'll be fucking once my testosterone gets back on track, forget it. The answer in the US is always money. It's a giant pain in the ass every time my doctor wants imaging. Even if I haven't met my deductible, the insurance company will deny it, so I can't even get my in-network discount. I end up paying cash. My doctor has told me point blank they won't order a specific test because they know the insurance company won't approve it. When you hear hooves, you think horses, not zebras. The vast majority of patients will have normal problems and normal solutions, so for the most part doctors start small and work their way up. Assuming the rare end case far end of the spectrum will end up with unnecessary tests and maybe even false diagnoses. X200B. Of course, as always, money for expensive tests is a concern. With respect to PCOS, though an MRI is possible to do, the level of training by radiologists to interpret that MRI result with respect to PCOS diagnosis is not extensive. It is generally agreed that radiologists need more training here to make such tests useful. Maybe that is the question that should be asked. Also, one must consider how a definitive diagnosis of PCOS during adolescence would change the management of PCOS during adolescence. Essentially, for most adolescent patients, management would not change substantially. Because if they don't do the diagnostic test, then they don't have a definitive answer. If they don't have a definitive answer, then they can try a bunch of different prescriptions and other medical treatments and stretch it out over multiple appointments, therefore costing you much more money than if they did the test and knew exactly what is wrong and how to treat it.